And he double clicked on part. Okay.
Okay. So does everybody have this in front of them? This the same one I have up here?
Yeah.
Let's make the screen big so we can see this.
Just wait 1 second. This is
Okay.
You're there. We're all there.
Okay. Anytime you want to create anything new, this isn't an informative screen. If I go to part tracker, I can see the cost, where they're at, if we have any, last time we built it, all those things. But if I want to create something new, it's always part. Okay. So under part, 2 ways you can do this. Mike shows you, if I'm on this part tab here, I can just hit this piece of paper. I call it a piece of paper, but it's a new tab. I can hit the drop down and say new part. I'm showing you 3 different ways. I can go to File, New part. So there's 3 ways I can do the same thing. File, new part. If I'm already on this part tab right here, I can just hit the piece of paper and it'll create it. It'll think I need a new part. Or I can hit drop down, new part. Probably the easiest way to go. So let's do that. According to the directions here, this will be a new purchase part from vendor ID called Rudy's. The purchase part will be numbered your initials, and try to do them in caps, your initials dash Rudy's. So mine will be RSR Rudy's. Oh, did you get a piece of paper?
Oh, yeah.
Here's one. Here's one right here.
Okay.
Yeah. And then tab, of course.
Add to
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is everyone watch. Let's say I screwed up. I don't want to create a part. I'm just highlighting the place that says part, and I'm hitting the delete button. Okay. So if you ever screw up, you can do that. You cannot delete any part that you've already done something with. So if I purchased it, if I've sold it, if it's on a quote, you cannot delete it. But if it's something I just messed up on, delete. Okay? Now,
that's true, by the way, of most transactions you create.
In Epicor.
If I created a sales order header, or if I created a quote header, or if I created a purchase order header, and even line, but I hadn't done anything with it yet, I'd have to delete the lines and then delete the header. And it would be good.
Okay.
But the system would still use the next number. But as soon as you do something like a material transaction or something, now
you're screwed. Yeah. I can go in and inactivate that part, but it's always going to exist.
Okay.
And I'm sure you have those parts in visibility. It says do not use, out of date, out of service, whatever. You don't want that. Okay, but let me show you another thing. So I told you have to hit the new piece of paper. You have to go to File, New part, or you have to hit this drop down and hit New part. You don't have to. I can just say that. And if I hit Tab, the system's going to say, hey, you know what? I've never seen this before. This is not a part. Do you want me to add a new record? Okay. Right. It doesn't exist. You want me to add a new one. Okay. But I'm going to do mine dash Rudy. One thing to remember, very, very important. No spaces.
Yeah.
Don't use
special
spaces.
characters.
Yeah.
Other than that. We got burnt at Midwest.
How to spell
Any
it?
ERP system, the hard one, try not to use special characters, right? Because they create problems in the code, right, that deep down under, right? However, again, because your customers, like I said, that bad business practices, they don't create new revs when they should. Well, guess what? They also use special characters in the part numbers.
Yeah.
So we're damned if we do. We have to. Right? We have no choice. If Yamaha uses a special character in part numbers, I'm not picking on it. We have to. We only choice.
Well, here's a common problem. Alan creates this new part. What's your initials?
AL.
AL dash Rudy's. And then somebody tells you tomorrow, hey, you need to create that AL dash Rudy's. What if on your part you put space AL dash Rudy's? It's going to create a new part.
So we are duplicating the
You're
part.
duplicating the part. So that's why dashes aren't even that good to have, but no apostrophes, no commas, no spaces, no, you got 50 characters. Try, use all those. So I put in my part number and I hit tab. You guys did that already?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's going to ask you for a description. But I'm telling you in the direction, ICA part number, let's put your initials dash ICA. We're going to pretend that's the ICA agreed upon internal number, manufacturer and part number, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And for description, let's put in your initials, description.
Okay, and Dutch and ICO, right?
Dash, and then description. Now, in description, you can have periods, commas, colons, whatever. I'm going to use spaces on mine. And it can be up to 1,000 characters in the description. Now, what are we creating? We're creating a part we're going to buy from Rudy's, and it is what kind of part? You have three choices: manufactured, purchased, or sales.
This is a purchase part?
It is a purchase part because we need to buy this to make something else.
So the system defaults for purchase part because 99 out of 100 manufacturing companies, there's more purchase parts than there are manufacturing.
Yeah. One other thing that I want to call to your attention: a lot of companies don't use it. I used to be a user when I started all this a long time ago. I love Search Word. The Search Word, if you see it to the right here, that's another way you can look for parts. Maybe all your terminals, the search word is term. Maybe all your wires, the search word is wire. Whatever. There's different ways to search, but I like using the search word. Or maybe anything I create has my search initials on it. So
You're right, it is an underutilized capability.
it's something that can help you. And then, like Mike said, it's going to default to purchased and each. If I was buying wire, of course, I would have to change the counting units to length.
Okay.
Okay, if I was buying wire, and see how it changed all these to inches, which it should be feet.
Yeah.
But this is
What is it meant to be?
what, length?
No, what is it, wire? Is it?
No, we're doing counting units.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody have counting units each. All right, what's the next thing on here? Say, okay, we got description, search word, unit of measures, each, group. Does anyone remember what group means?
Maybe like a
Group versus class.
Yeah, group versus class. If I ever sell this AL-Rudy's part to a customer, I probably never will, but if I ever do, what group should it be in for the accounting department? It can be anything. And here's a rule that we have with our companies with ICA. Anything that's a raw material, put it as other. Other.
That's why I put that up on the chart.
Yeah.
Right? Because group drives your sales and cost of sales. So you're not selling. That's why I asked you, what is the part meant to be?
Yeah.
It's a purchase part. But all your purchase parts should go to product group other.
Yeah.
Just in case somebody didn't
Accidentally sell it.
But it's not meant to be sold.
Okay, class is what you're talking about, Alan. What is it? Yeah. What type of raw material is it? I made ours a connector. You can make it whatever you want. Okay, mine's a connector. So once you have all that filled out, let's go to this lower right-hand corner. You see this area right here? It is going to default to average, and that's just a integrated cable thing. We do all average on all of our parts, purchased and manufactured. So it's going to default to there. If it doesn't for some reason, give me a call, because it will. It's supposed to default to average on everything. Now, are we going to stock this item? Is it going to be something that we're going to count, that we're going to need for bombs, that we're going to have a bin for and all that? The answer is yes. So this should not be checked. And you might want to write that down. It's going to come into play on page 2. Non-stock item are really just manufactured, things that we don't normally keep in stock in case a customer might call us someday and want to buy it. Almost everything else is stocked. We keep it in it'll be on a stock status report. Okay, so you have this taken care of.
After we build a manufactured product, we're putting it back in stock and shipping from stock. Is that a permanent?
No, that's Alfredo. So, are you done? No. Let's go back. Let's go to this other part. It says under sites. So you have part, detail. Now go to sites. It's right here. You can see it on the screen here. Go to sites. Okay. Before I enter anything here, I'm going to save. Good habit.
We'll save off.
A quick question. If you hit enter, nothing happens, right?
Yeah, nothing.
Usually, it depends on where you are, but most of the time you hit enter.
Yeah.
There's a few places where it might.
You want to make sure that like nothing closes or
Yeah.
it's not like a delete.
No. One thing I don't like is that save and delete are right next to each other.
Yeah.
All the screens are like that. We've asked them to change it. Yeah, everybody asks them, but they don't know what the big deal is. All right, so sites is a very important page. Buyer, in the very middle of the screen right here. Put you in there, your specialty one. That'll be your user. Oh, and by the way, we're really excited. Joe's got all the bombs in there. They're not right, but they're however you had them in visibility. We've got all your customers, all your vendors. I got all the users. Mike has all the financials working. So starting next week, you get to see your own stuff.
Okay, so all the material, all the raw material are loaded right now?
Yep.
With the same description that you used to have in
Yep.
visibility?
Exactly.
That's the description.
I thought you were going to say that's good.
Oh, we
Yeah.
need to do something with the description of the raw
Okay.
material.
Let me write that down.
We have to, for example, we have to so we can be able, easier for us to share a terminal,
Uh-huh.
maybe send like a code of terminal, gauge, or you know what I mean?
Oh, you mean the actual part number or the description?
No, the description.
Okay. Like to make it universal with the other companies?
Yeah, for example, I want to load a new terminal.
Uh-huh.
They have to be the same particular characteristics, because you know, like a term, gauge, and you know, it's a ring.
Yeah.
Because the description right now are like, for example, have a terminal that it says R10, you know what I mean?
AWG,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah, but that doesn't mean too much for me, because
How much would that hurt purchasing that are used to seeing these descriptions? I mean, I don't. If the part number is the same.
Yeah.
We could add a part number, right?
Yeah. No. You can't edit part numbers once they're already done. Right. Descriptions, I can edit it all day.
But, I mean, yeah, not the part number, but the description.
Yeah. You can change the description anytime.
But for us, the description will help us. For example, if a customer says, okay, this terminal with this characteristic, we don't have it in stock.
Right.
So maybe we can share something from the item that we have in the stock
Right.
with the same characteristics of this terminal, and looking, it will be easy for us to look for the description and we can use this terminal, this one, this one.
Right. Okay.
You haven't done anything on site.
Yeah. And here's something you, did you get on it, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm probably getting ahead of my, but I just want you to know this, because you brought up a good point, Mike. Okay, so you can't change, you're not going to be able to change the description every time. I mean, the part number. If you use it in one bomb, you just can't change it. It's what it is, right? The description you can change all the time. You might say, hey, we want all of our terminals to start description, start term.
Yeah. Okay, exactly.
And it'll help you out.
So we can do that.
Yeah.
With one option.
Joe can help you do it in a couple minutes. Joe can help you do it. Because we have tools that we can do it all at once on certain part groups.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. But let's say that same customer you're talking about, the connector that we normally use, discontinued, or maybe not. And you have 40 bombs out there that have that terminal. So the engineer has to go in and change every bomb to the new part. Epicor has a part of it that I'll show you in the next class.
We can say like a master change. Okay.
It's called replace.
Okay.
So everywhere it sees that part on a bomb, it will change.
Okay.
It won't change the jobs that are already out there, but any future.
Okay.
And you can do that for process.
Okay.
So like the process, like we used to have this hand cutting machine and we got rid of it. Now we have this new machine that does it faster and better. You can replace all your bombs with that.
Okay. Actually, visibility has that too.
Okay. That's, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's good. Okay. Buyer specialty one. Buyer T specialty one. That has a. I don't want to harp on this stuff right here. Inventory, min, max, safety, and all that, because we have different rules with ICA than most companies do. But you do have some. I've seen them in visibility. Joe showed them to me. Minimum on hand, maximum on hand, all that affects purchasing. But for this exercise, go underneath where you put your buyer and put in a minimum order quantity of 25. Lead time is how many business days will it take to get it here? You can put whatever you want. We're just practicing. I'm going to put 2. Now, under suppliers, you can put in the code of the supplier if you know it. So that's one way you can do it. You can look through all your suppliers. Remember, Mike said that you had that option to return all rows. I can just look once. And I have, how many? 300 suppliers. Okay, and you can pick one, but I told you guys to pick Rudy's. They're in alphabetical order here. Rudy's, fantastic Feral Shop. Now notice this when it comes up eventually, I hope. Supplier ID. That's this right here. I asked you a minute ago, give me a supplier, and you gave me a number, right? Invisibility, are your suppliers by numbers like that? 478, 522. How is your supplier's ID invisibility? By number?
Yeah, either they're by number and by name also.
Okay.
You can share by name or by
But if I went up to purchasing right now and said, oh, vendor 478, they know what I'm talking about.
They should
Probably.
know, right?
Yeah, they probably would. Yeah. Well, in Epicor, you can do it either way, or I can do a combination.
Okay.
We have one company, the Wire Shop. They use, what did they use? Let me look again. Do they use numbers?
Yeah, they have codes, like Highland.
Yeah, here you go. Here's your supplier IDs. C85, G51, blah, blah, blah. Or it can just be a number, or it can be a combination of both. I think you can go up to, I think it's 10, and it might 10 or 12 characters. Not more than that.
We're purchasing.
Yeah. Okay. Now, new rule that Mitty and Joe and everyone else put in is the purchase price. I'm going to have to put something in here to make this work. $1.25 is what we're going to put in as a price. Everybody put in a price there. If you don't put a price in, it's not going to let you buy it.
Okay.
That's the new rule. And the new rule is only Joe and whoever took Nehar's place
To load the price.
can load the price.
Because I used to do that.
You did that too?
Yeah, and then person said, hey, what's the price? I don't know. They told me that price, and now
Yeah.
I don't quote. I don't.
So they're in charge of that. Okay, and when we get into quoting, you'll see that's going to be an important part that they'll have to do. But anyway, just get used to seeing this. Customer ID is how I can bring it up on an order, sales order, this or that. And here's the actual customer names over here. Okay?
So did everybody put in a purchase price?
Yep.
Hit save. Remember, hit save often. If you exit out, you just lost everything that we just did.
Right.
You don't hit save.
Remember to hit save.
Yeah.
You need a purchase price to buy it, right? But you don't need it to create part. Right?
No, I could create it
That's
because
You'll get a pop-up.
I think
Right. So
Nehar-
actually, engineer, you have to create the number, description, and then.
Yeah.
PO line, it doesn't have, you're going to get a pop-up that says the price is less than the approved.
No,
blah, blah,
okay.
blah, blah.
yeah, and it won't work, and it won't work, and then you have to call Joe. So anyway, this is pretty easy. One other thing, this is just my kind of rule, and I'll make it default to this. It's hit raw material. I'd like to know. It should default to that, but it doesn't. You see what I'm saying?
No, you guys create the food,
Someone should create
on a quote, but who creates the whole of the purchase? You guys.
No,
They do too?
Oh, you do? Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Aaron might create a new part for a customer for a new bomb, but he doesn't know how much it costs.
Yeah.
But Aaron, you know who the vendor is, right? Because you're going to call around and go, hey, do you have this
Well, yeah,
Cheryl?
that was going to be my next question. If you guys are creating purchase parts and it's new, how do you know what supplier it is?
Well, it depends what part number, for example, if it's connected from Deutsch.
But does somebody tell you, or do you
Yeah,
have to
somebody
figure
tells. We put the manufacturer, but we don't put the supplier. So suppose that we send the phone to like a Neha.
Oh, she determines.
So she will, yeah.
So that, I don't know if that's in your.
It is, it's in there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually that person, no, it's not Nehar anymore. What's
Yeah,
her name?
I
on
know.
mine?
I don't know what her name is.
It's not easy. Right? Person X.
Yeah.
Person X will fill in that.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can create a part and save it and, well, you know, even if I take this $1.25 off here, it'll work. It'll let me save it,
Okay.
but I can't ever sell it or buy it.
Okay.
Has to have something here. I'm gonna put my $1.25 back in. All right, so there's a different tab now. I'm gonna save again. Underneath, you're under sites right now. Detail. Go to warehouses in the middle, and then click on primary bin. Every part that you create, make sure we put a primary bin in for it. Okay. I gave you one here, WB21F.
Primary bin.
And hit tab.
Okay.
You should have this fill out here. Now, if you don't know,
So purchase is going to do that, right?
yeah. But see, what happens is when purchasing buys this part, when they say, okay, let's go ahead and buy it, and Elizabeth has it on the BOM, and they run their little MRP, their purchase order suggestions, it's not going to know what to do with it. It's not going to know what warehouse, not going to know what price, not going to know what vendor. So somebody has to do that, and probably be your warehouse people, I guess, right? If you don't know what bin it is, maybe we can have a common bin. Like when you guys create a part, it always goes to ZZZ bin, and then they'll know, hey, I need to pick a bin where it's going to go in the warehouse.
Okay.
But I would like for that to be something that we fill in all the time.
Okay.
Okay. I know you guys don't want to be responsible for all of it, but we got to have somebody looking at this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there's often, when you're creating, some shops, engineering drives the bus. Kind of like you guys create the booths, and you guys create the bombs, and you create the supplier parts and the purchase parts. So I call that, you're driving the bus, because you're creating all the major elements. Some companies, engineering creates the booths and the manufactured parts, but purchasing creates the purchase. So in a case like yours, there's always going to be interaction between you and purchasing. You're going to have to go back and update some of these fields. So like the supplier is going to come from person X, right? But you might get information from purchasing about min-max.
Yeah, for example, I create a new part number, so maybe I'm going to have to send an email to the purchaser. I create a new part, please, update price, supply the water. How it's going to be, this. Once I create a part number, they don't receive like an email say, oh, you have a new.
This is a quoting process. And do you see these little red lines?
No.
Kind of hard to see. I'll put it up here in a minute, and then we'll tape it up. That means Epicor is going to send an email for you.
Okay.
And we can do that. Like anytime there's a new part created, boom, it sends one. Well,
maybe send it to the manager.
Yeah,
the manager, and the manager has to, got this guy,
Right.
please put the price.
Yep, we can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that. Because I do want to go over that with you guys too before we leave, so you can tell me that ain't gonna work.
I create a new part and then it's in the bomb, but doesn't have the.
Well, I'm going to show you about that.
Okay.
It's scary, man. Because Carlos asked me one thing. He said, a veces the customer sends me a bomb on an Excel spreadsheet. I'm like, yeah. Can I just throw that in Epicor? Yeah, you can. I can create a manufactured part in 5 minutes with a bomb, with the routing, with everything, maybe less than 5 minutes because I've been doing this a long time.
Okay.
But it's dangerous when you do it that way because what if one of the parts that they're giving me on the bomb we don't have? It doesn't exist. It'll still take it.
Okay.
I won't show you this.
So that's why it's better to, I'm going to show you a whole new way to do it. Not that Carlos is wrong by wanting it. That's a good thing to have because we need to be able to make parts as fast as we can, adjust revisions and stuff like that. But you can get in trouble. I've seen some companies just, my God, they get in bad. But anyway, okay, so we did a purchase part. Next, we're going to do, if you turn your piece of paper over, Epicor, you do everything in part. You do manufactured parts, you do purchase parts, sales kits. You do everything in part. So what you should have in front of you is your part. Make sure you write that part number down because I'm going to add that part to a BOM. AL-Rudy's or whatever your part number is. Make sure you remember that part number. What I could do, remember what I told you about creating a new part? I could just put something else in here, hit tab, and it's going to go, hey, new part. It's not going to change the part you have on it.
I don't like that.
No, okay, but I'm just,
never do it.
I'm giving you different.
The other parts.
Yeah. So,
Say new part.
so I said no. The best practice thing to do is to hit that little broom on top that says clear.
Clear?
Yeah, but don't forget, you got to save your part. Because if you hit clear, you just lost it.
Yes.
Yes. It will ask you clear confirmation, say yes. Now, if you saved it, like Mike said, I'll be able to call that part back up, right? Just by typing it in. If you didn't, it's gone. You'll have to do it all over again. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a new part. File, new part. And I'll try to follow this a little bit
Well, the
closer.
key there, as soon as you say new part, all the cells open. Right? All white ones, like red.
Yeah. We're going to call this part, we're making it for a company called Jerry's Boats. So we're going to call it your initials again, dash Jerry. And we're going to make a harness for his boat. Hit tab. The ICA part number is going to be your initials again, dash Jerry, dash ICA. Remember, part numbers, no spaces. No spaces.
Okay.
Tab.
Question there, Rudy. What's the intent in the future? Will they have to key in the ICA part number, or will it
I don't know.
somewhere?
That I don't know. I know all purchase parts, they want that to be the manufacturer's purchase part, so
But-
everyone will know.
right. But do they have to have some, whatever? this-
Yeah, we'll have
the
to.
source.
No, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I mean, you'll be able to create it without it for now.
If you go to regular Epicor, it doesn't have an ICA part number yet. This is something Joe's developing.
It's custom for you.
It's custom. Description, once again, let's do, what did I put description? Your initials, hyphen description. Now, we're making a manufactured product. We're going to build this. We're going to sell this. Okay? Search, I'm going to put in my initial.
Everybody have manufactured type?
Yep.
Or in the search, you could put in, like if you had 10 or 12 harnesses you built for Jerry's, you could put Jerry. That would be your search word. You know, every time I look up a part, I want to see Jerry's. Yeah,
Okay.
you can do that as well. Each counting unit is each, right? Because these don't come in a dozen and they don't come in rolls. This is a harness when we're creating. Group. Now this becomes important. What kind of a-
Now this is the manufactured part.
Yeah.
It's not a purchase part, right?
So I think the group will be the the customer.
Exactly. Exactly.
This kicks in. This is the top assembly that we're going to sell. But the product group drives sales, cost of sales, and WIP, right? Remember this said for what? So now you got to pick the right one. Is it a connector? Is it wire? What is it? I think you said everybody said connector.
No, that was for the purchase part.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So as a finished part, like Edson was saying, what does a customer do? So we kind of need to know that. I know that this guy is Jerry's Boats, so I'm going to put it under marine. And why is this important? Because it drives the GL accounts. At the end of the year, many of them want to know, are we selling more to heavy equipment companies, or how much do we have in dollars that we sold to digital printers, that kind of stuff. And then the class, it is not a raw material. It's a finished good. So go down here to finished goods. You can put finished goods from Mexico for you guys. Okay, so meaning this means it is not a raw material. This is something that's not going to go on a bomb. this is going to be a bomb to make this. Okay, that makes sense. Right. Okay, warranty and all that we won't worry about yet. Let's go to the lower right-hand corner again. Average should be what came up. Did everybody get average?
Yeah. You'll never change that.
Non-stock. Let's check that. Explain one more time real quick why.
Everybody understand why?
Because we don't have them in stock, it's not a purchase.
Well, your intent, your inventory strategy is to not stock top assembly.
You have to have an order in order to start making this.
You're an NPO shop, so you need to order.
And when you tell Epicor that, Aaron, what happens is when they put this on a sales order and this is checked, that's telling Epicor, you better create a job. ¿Cómo se llama el señor? Abraham. It's telling Abraham, in your production planning workbench, I'm going to appear because I don't have any of these and somebody's asking me for some on this date.
Okay.
So that's why it's important for manufactured items to have non-stock. Now, if we made plastic bottles that we keep here all the time and we don't have orders for them, but somebody might come in and buy them, then that would be a stock bag.
For example, if we have, 100 harnesses in the Nogales, Arizona warehouse.
Yeah.
Or sub-assemblies for electronics.
Yeah.
Or sub-assemblies.
Sub-assemblies for electronics, they will be stocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The general rule is if you're a make-to-stock shop, then everything is, that flag would be off for almost everything. But in a make-to-order situation, like specialty harness, with no sub-assemblies, then your top assemblies are going to be stocked. Electronics, sub-assemblies will be stocked.
Okay, so right underneath there you'll see quantity bearing. It is quantity bearing, so if we make more than we use, we can put them in an inventory bin. Yeah, but we want to count them. We want to know how many there are. Go above here and look at used part rev. That's very important for all manufactured parts to have that checked. And I think it will by default. That will be checked.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, save. Go to the new button right here. And I want you to create a new part revision. It should take you to the revisions tab. Did you get that?
Yes, you do.
Everybody good?
You see the yellow, yeah, everybody's.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to call it, according to my instructions here, we're going to create a new part rev, and we're going to call it 10-2. 10-2. That's going to be the name of the rev. It can be whatever you want. A lot of companies use A, B, C, D.
Well, this is another quick editorial. These are coming from the customer. We have no say in the matter.
Yeah.
And so like at Midwest, this is another area where we got into trouble.
Yeah.
Because they were getting revs from customers that were like underscored. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
These people are idiots.
Or a hyphen,
right?
yeah.
That's an active rev.
Oshkosh.
underscore,
Oshkosh.
yeah.
They're the ones that do that. Yeah.
Well, whoever's in engineering there.
But remember this, you can make a rev and just hit a space and a dash or something. Don't ever do that because it's just, name it something. It has to be named something. A, B, C, D. And Oshkosh was a problem over there because they were just a dash. I'm like, what dash are you on? Do you put two dashes? If it's, I don't know. Anyway.
I sarcastically said, somebody should go there and teach the engineers basic business practices on.
Okay, so now we have a new rev. Look at the effective date. I can change that if I want and say, okay, this isn't going to be able to be sold until the end of the month or something. For now, we're just going to leave it at 10-2. Okay?
When you create a rev, it doesn't become the default revision.
Good question. It's coming up. It's coming up. If you have multiple revisions, because you will. Next week, they might have a whole new way to build it. They want it 4 inches longer, different connector stuff. You created it. Epicor will use the latest date that this says right here, effective date.
So in Epicor, you can have multiple active revisions with overlapping dates, but it'll always pick the highest rev, R instead of Q, and date. Now, a lot of companies don't like that, but that's just the way the system's designed.
And I will show you.
There's good reasons why they've allowed that.
Yeah.
But just FYI, just so you know, you can have 3 active revisions, A, B, and C, right? But it's always not, if C is the most current, it's going to pick C. The default on the sales order line will be C. But they'll see the drop down A, B, Because the customer might say, well, we want to buy 20 of the Bs. Well, the customer service rep will be able to change that to full C or B.
And what I'll show you is a best practice because we're going to build this right now, and then you're going to build one by yourself, another rev for it, and then I'll show you the best practice is always whenever there's multiple revs, you should, as an engineer, go in there and unapprove the ones you're not going to use. That's just good practice. You can have them all approved, so they can sell them all. But if they're unapproved, they can't sell them.
Okay.
You know, and maybe Guillermo's going to call you one day and go, "Hey, esos güeyes quieren Q," and then you'll go, "Okay, well, I'm the only one. I'm the engineer. I'm the only one that can go in and approve that, activate it." Yeah. Okay. Description. Let's put in Rev 10.2. The description can be anything you want it to be. Okay. You can put where the drawing's located. You can put the name of the drawing. That's up to you guys. A lot of companies don't use it. I used to use it at one of the places, but we didn't do as many jobs as you do here. Here you guys got 300-400 jobs on the floor at the same time, all the time. Over there we had 10.
Okay.
So that's what that's for. ECO, these are all just references, okay? A new group, I think I made a group. Here's a listing of them all for you. Do you see that down here? Where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, conversion, MHD, and Rudy R. We'll do like we did last time.
So Epicor allows us to create a ECO.
You can create an ECO group.
And distribute it to all the people involved in this.
Good question. Good question. There can be 3 of you working on one thing at the same time. So you can have a group of people. I don't advise that. I like everyone to have their own group. So yours is going to be called Liz 1 because I want to make it everybody's name. Yours will be Alan 1, like that.
Just a quick question regarding the concept of ECO control. Right?
Yeah,
That's a concept, right? Some industries are adamant about using ECO control, like the medical device industry. I have a medical device customer. Any change has to be part of an ECO, an approved ECO, because they have to go to the FDA, right? But Midwest, correct me if I'm wrong, Lee, but the other 3 sites, nobody's using ECO control.
No.
Or ECO groups,
Right.
but all of the facilities are in the system to do that. So my question is, for specialty harness, are you doing any ECO control in visibility?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
No, visibility, no.
No,
It's
not
out of visibility.
Oh, out of visibility.
Okay.
This
Good.
is not the.
Yeah.
All right.
Because-
I didn't know that. So visibility doesn't have ECO control.
Because when we go over this in a little bit, it'll all make sense. Like, why in the heck do we all need to have our separate things? Because you might be working on the bomb, you might be working on the processes, you might be working on a special part for it, subassembly. So that makes sense. So you can go in and create new ECO groups. Now, what I'm going to do right now, did everybody save this? You don't have to put anything else
So I
in.
just started to, but I want to make sure because we're just like cycle count, right? They
Yeah.
manually do cycle counting, but you're not doing cycle counting in visibility. You're going to do cycle counting in Epicor. It's going to be system.
Yeah.
So it's not just going to be spreadsheets. But same
Print
thing with
tickets.
ECO groups.
Yeah, they're going to use the system.
No more spreadsheets. We're trying to get rid of as many spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Okay, so great. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. So now I can just approve it. I can go and approve it. And anytime you do anything like this, it's going to ask for your initials. But I haven't done anything. It has no parts. It has nothing.
Or you could write a book.
Or yeah.
ECO
You can write 1,000.
You can put the entire, you can copy and paste the entire text of the ECO into this box.
Yeah. Because it's a description of something. But I'm God bless you. I'm going to cancel this because I don't want to approve it. I want to check it out. Okay, so here's the next thing on here is I want you to check out revision 10.2. So let's go to actions, revision, check out revision. Let's do that. I only have one. Normally I would pick which one I'm checking out.
Okay.
Why am I checking it out? Because I don't want Guillermo or Eduardo to sell it. I'm working on it. Don't put it on a sales order.
Okay.
You, Elizabeth, don't mess with it. I've got it checked out to me. Let me do my thing. Okay? So, now it's asking me, which revision do I want to check out? Like I said, if you had multiple ones, you'd pick it, highlight it in blue,
Sure.
and then you tell it what ECO, you're going to go with 1, I'll be 2, you're 3,
But you're okay
4,
in grayed out.
5.
It's not grayed out,
yeah, but I haven't put anything in yet.
Yeah.
You're 5, 6, yeah. I'm 2. So I'm going to put 2 in. And then hit tab.
There you go.
Yeah, it's the number. I'm sorry. Sometimes late at night I get too fancy for myself. Should go to bed. Okay. Now, let's say Alan had he was using ECO2. I mean, this isn't going to happen because you guys are going to have your own names.
Yeah.
It'll tell you. It'll go, oh, you can't use this one because somebody's already using 2. So it kind of helps you from stepping on each other's toes. So hit OK. Now let's go back up to actions. Revision. Engineering workbench.
Now that's sweet right there. You just created a top assembly, right, with a revision and an ECO, and you're jumping right out into, you're jumping right into here. Here's where you are, right here. Right, actions, engineering workbench.
Okay. Does everybody have this up?
Yeah.
Let's make it maximize it, just so we all can see the same thing. All right. Notice right now there are no operations. There's no routings. There are no materials. Okay. There are no less than 12 ways to create what I'm going to show you here. But I want to show you the best practice, the most common way that you can do this. If you go to an Epicor class and sit with somebody like Mike, they're going to show you, here's the best practices way to do it. There's 100 other ways. I might show you 1 or 2 just because Carlos asked me to show you. Don't recommend doing that. You can make mistakes. This is a lot easier.
Go on the simplest way.
Yeah. So I've never built this before. I don't know anything about it, but I know that there's a part out there that's very similar to it. Okay?
Just one other comment. Where you are right now, if we were in the quote management module, second row of tabs, the engineering tab, is exactly, you'd be looking at the exact same stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to actions, revision, get details. Now notice I can get details from operations. I can get details from an import. I can get details from a job, a method, or a quote. We're going to get the top one. It's the easiest. Now the system's going to ask you, what part do you want to mimic? What part out there is kind of close to it? And I want you to put in I think I did R Jerry. Did I put that on here? Yeah. Create a mom from another part. So put in R Jerry, tab.
Hey, hold on one second. I just want to make sure. Does everybody understand what he's doing right now?
Yep.
Right. We don't have a mom for your thing yet. But he's saying, go get the mom from this guy.
This one's close.
Right.
This one's close.
The raw material and the route.
Both. The routing's in everything.
It'll grab everything. RR? Yeah, on top. Because this is a part that's already made. When you first did it, the system's saying, you want to adjust the one you're making? No, I don't have anything on mine. I don't have any operations or material. So when the RR dash,
This is a very important step
Jerry.
concept to understand, because when you're doing new quotes, if it's for the same customer and very
Okay.
similar to, you're not going to build it all from scratch. Just go copy one that's like it.
Yeah.
It'll take you a tenth of the time.
Okay.
And there may be situations where you do have to build it all as a brand new customer or a brand new product.
Yeah. And I'll show you how to do that too, but it just takes forever to do it that way. You can also build templates. Like normally when I build one for cable, I normally use these parts. You can build templates and just go grab templates. It's a good place to start because I got to cut it, I got to inspect it, I got to, So, but this part's going to be close. Now notice you have to pick the revision. This might have 3 or 4 revisions. I'm going to pick A, and I'm going to hit OK. It's going to take a little bit.
So what is it doing right now? It's going out to the engineer. It's going out to the MOM repository and grabbing that method, and it's going to. It just added it to your part number, right? See, now you have 6 operations methods.
So let's open up operations. These are your routings. Let's look at this first one.
Everybody there? No. Aaron, you got that? Did you get yours? Yeah, you guys are good.
And I had kit wires as my first operation. Okay? Here's some real important stuff to remember. Let's look at labor and labor standards and all that. The operation is kit wires. We can put a labor standard operation in there for everything. That's what you guys are used to. Yeah. Right now, only the wire shop does it. They have standards for, they know that this machine can cut 600 a minute, whatever. The other companies, they do it on the BOM. All the BOMs have standards. They don't have regular standards. Okay? If they need to save money, they'll say, make it faster and they'll change this. Fixed hours, operations per hour, operations per minute, minutes per piece, all the different ways you can figure labor. There's a drop down for it. What I heard yesterday from you was you guys do pieces per hour, right?
Yeah. The rates. Pieces per hour.
Pieces per hour. So that's probably how we're going to do it.
For all production standards?
Yeah.
That's the standard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, if you click on these, you'll notice this right here. Now that's what I was talking to you about, Edson. Labor only. Well, do that drop down so you can see the different choices you have. One's called back flush, quantity only, and then time and quantity. And I'll bring you up to speed on this, Mike. This is what Edson was showing me. Here's a route sheet that he went and got out from the floor.
Yeah.
And he said, it has all the routings.
Yeah.
But only that one counts.
The last one.
Right. They take what everyone's writing down as their times, and then they add them together and add them in here, and that's the actual time it took to build that one.
Okay, so we can do that.
Yeah.
No problem.
Right.
But then the other follow-up question, which we don't have to answer right now, is if somebody calls the customer service rep and says, where is it? How do I know where it is? How do I know? Because if I'm not reporting each operation as complete, how do I know where is it? Let's say it's a 6-day production cycle because of all the operations. How do I know where it is? Where is it, right? That's the one downside to that approach is I can't look, because when you go to Job Tracker, it'll show you ding, ding, ding. It'll show you that op 10, op 20, op 30, op 40 are done if I report each op. If I don't, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
So again, we don't have to answer. We've handled that one already before.
So what we do at Velocity, okay, the last one that I did. The first one is cut. They need to know that. We front flush all the material. All the material goes to the floor and is issued to WIP that first day. Okay.
Because most of your work orders aren't that long.
Theirs are very small.
You wouldn't do that. But if they're only 4 or 5 days, then
so they issue it all, and somebody says, we cut it. We cut the wire. They have a cutting department. That's all they have.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing they need to know is assembly. Who's got it? Because they have 30 people that have tables exactly like this. They do everything. They'll put terminals. They'll put ferrules. They'll weld. They'll put sleeve, they'll heat shrink, they'll connect, they'll test. One person does a whole harness at that place. Okay, so they have cut, they have assembly, and then they have final inspection. So that's the three things that they need to know, because customer calls and goes, oh, I need to increase that order by 10. Well, chinga, we already cut it, So it's going to cost you a little more than
But
that.
it's not dramatically different.
It's not true.
Right?
No, it's not.
You cluster your operations into 3 major categories, correct?
3 or 4.
Four,
what you were
four,
saying, yeah.
That's what Alfredo told me, but I don't know if Carlos got it.
We got to get it. Well, that's another topic for another day.
But the only thing I want you to take away from this is this. If I mark this back flush, when I'm an employee out there and I finish kitting the wires, then I go to the machine and go, I'm going to enter I kitted 12 of the 12 pieces. If I go in there, it's not going to let me enter anything because I told it I'm going to back flush. So there's a big difference there, Edgar, is back flush means I can't, when I get done, when this thing ships, it's going to put all the labor in by itself. That's what back flush means. I don't get to know nothing. If I say quantity only, if on the sales order there's 10 pieces, it's going to multiply 10 times this, and that's going to be my labor for kit and wires, okay? I don't care if the guy has it for 2 days or 200 days. The labor is going to be the same because I just told it quantity only. So when I put that quantity in there, it's going to say, how many did you sell? 10? Okay, 10 times this 0.25, that's the labor that you did for kitting. If I put in time and quantity, got in a lot of trouble with that at Velocity because they started changing these. They didn't know why. They were just changing. What happens is whenever that person grabs that job and starts to work on it, it starts clicking the time. How much you get paid per hour times however long you have it. And this guy would go home or go on break, forget about the job for a week, and then the labor would be $300, $400 for him. Yeah. And then they got mad at me. I'm like, well, they know they're not supposed to use time and quantity. Because time and quantity means when he reported the 10, it would multiply 10 times this plus all the hourly time that he had. So I got in a lot of trouble, but they knew better. We even took it off the menu so they wouldn't do that anymore. So with them, it's either back flush or quantity only. And that's the way it'll be with you guys. Unless, but no, there's no unless, because Mehdi doesn't want to, he really wants everything to back flush. Yeah. Now, here's the other thing. The way you do it here, we'd have to do it a little bit different here. How we do it at Velocity is on all these standards here, they have standards. You know, we can do 800 per hour. Here we can do 120 per hour and all that. But we will take all this and put it in the last operation. In the last operation.
The wire shop, it's operations per hour.
Yeah, they're the ones that do it different.
That's okay. That's will be for you. Show them the drop down there.
Yeah.
See what your options are. But pieces per hour is not.
Yeah.
There's all the pieces per hour.
Or minutes per piece is common as well. Like I can do, takes me 2 minutes to do one cable to cut it or whatever. Inspect it, it takes me part of an hour. Anyway, so they add up all this time and put it in the last operation. When you do that, go to the next to the last one. See how it says back flush? I'm not going to get a chance to report any of that. But let's say that Carlos says, hey, I want to know when that label's installed. I want to know. I got to know. Well, I would put 0 here and add that labor to my final operation, whatever that one was.
400.
Yeah, make that whatever it's supposed to be. Did that make sense to you? So now, Julia, who's putting labels on stuff, she can actually report a quantity. She can go out there and go, yes, I'm finished with the 12 pieces. And Carlos will go, all right, we're ready for final inspection. But it won't affect labor at all. because we added that labor to the final operation, just like you do here.
And that's how we're gonna be thinking.
That's how we think we're going to do it here.
So
If you want to, yeah, and if you want to report on the other ones,
Yeah.
if you need to know when it's cut, when it's kitted and all that, yeah, we'll have terminals out there. We have licenses and terminals to put out there. But if they, I don't mean to tell you this, but if they forget to do it or something, it don't. You know, you can get mad and slap them on the hand. What counts as that final operation?
Okay. That's what I asked you to.
So really,
Yeah.
it's you guys and how you build the boo, because that right there's the boo, right? Well,
Yeah,
the
the
word
bill of
materials
operations.
is the bomb. How you build the boo dictates what the labor is going to be, not
Okay.
anything you're doing
Yeah.
in the shop floor necessarily,
Uh,
unless they forget to put in the final quantity. That's the one thing they do have to do.
yeah, that, on the last
The job
operation,
for
very
20,
important.
I did 20. Oh no, I did 19 and scratch.
And think about that, because if all your labor is in the last operation, if the job calls for 20, like Mike said, if the job calls for 20, but I only finished 18, it knows backflush 18 pieces from each piece of labor. You know, even if they did do 20 on top, it's going to count 18 because that's your final count on the last.
Okay.
Well, if they said 18 and scrap 1, it'll backflush 19.
Right.
Well,
If I only said 18 and nothing else, then it's only going to backflush 18.
So what I wanted you to take away from this was labor entry is very important.
Yeah.
And then your production standard, or I think we're going to add them all up, even your setups and stuff, add them all up here.
And that's
But that's a
you
Carlos
folks in this room.
yeah.
Nobody else is doing it. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. Yeah.
Aaron? Muscle metal? Okay. Can we take 5 and then we'll come back and do material?
Sounds good.
Is that good? I need some more coffee. At 11:15, 11:30, can we go talk to Alfredo or bring him in here?
it will be
Okay.
better than Carlos and Alfredo.
Okay, at the same
Right?
time?
Yeah.
Okay,
because
then that's
they
it.
have to talk about how it's
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah, that's
But
not a
they
topic we
gotta
want to rush.
understand how it works too.
Yeah. They should be here. So I don't know.
Yeah,
They have a lot of duties. So
I know.
That's not a topic we want to rush.
Yeah.
I have been here for 3.5 minutes. We
Yeah,
should just schedule a separate
yeah,
we should.
Yeah.
We
and
should.
hope that Vinny doesn't call. Austin knows the system better than
Yeah.
all of his people. They'll go to him to get question things because
Yeah.
he's really good with it.
How long has that been at, Wireshark?
Well, Wireshark and Midwest had this old version called Vantage.
But it looks just
So
like a,
the answer is 5 years maybe, but it was this old crappy version. So this is much better, newer. But it was definitely an advantage. I mean, going from Vantage to E10 is easier than going from visibility.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
Yes.
okay, so we're still on engineering workbench. Let's expand materials. Once again, this is how the wire shop does it. So
So remember, the materials came from that party.
yeah. So let's select the first material, which is 30. And it's telling me here we need 10.25 feet.
Per piece, huh?
Yeah, per piece. And everything in that course per piece.
Okay.
And it's saying you have a scrap rate of 3%. But you notice here, there is a fixed quantity you can check, or you can put in a quantity scrap
Okay.
or a percentage.
Okay.
And then when your bomb comes out, it'll have that extra in it,
Yeah.
okay? Which will make it a little more expensive.
Yeah.
That's probably why Matty doesn't want that in there. Look here on your right, pull as assembly, plan as assembly, view as assembly. You guys don't use sub-assemblies, but you can. Actually, there can be sub-assemblies up there, and I can tell it 1, 2, 3. These 4 parts, pull them as a sub-assembly. If I don't have all 4, then don't pull it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Electronics will use those flags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys.
No,
You guys won't.
that's good now. Yeah.
Okay, RFQ needed. We don't do that currently, but you can. If you have a brand new part and you want to send it out to 3 or 4 people and have them bid on it, request for quote, you can do that through Epicor and tell them how many quotes you need. Okay, so let's hit save. You had written down that part that you created, remember?
Yeah.
RSR or whatever your initials are dash
That's would be
Rudy's.
The one at the top of the tree structure, right, their part. We copied a bomb from somewhere else, but.
Yeah, but I want to add a new material.
Okay.
Okay. So how do you do that? Underneath material, I can put my icon on that. If I right click, I can add material. Mm-hmm.
Add
You
material.
you want them to do that, right?
Yes. Put your
Click on the word material.
put you should be at this screen.
Yeah.
Did you
Okay.
add the word?
So put your part number in there.
You could add into the- yeah.
RSR
Right click.
dash. ¿Cómo se llama bien?
Yeah.
Rudy's. RUDYS. And then hit tab. Tú said AL dash Rudy's. AL dash Rudy's. Yeah.
So they're adding
Their part.
The one we created.
The one you
The
created.
first one part.
And then
they're
hit
adding their
tab.
part to the bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Notice that it added it to operation 5. Now, are you going to need this part then or not? Maybe you don't need it till operation 60 or whatever.
Okay.
This is what the other companies do. I still don't know how we're going to do it. Me and you are going to work it out. And me and you
Okay.
is open up this one right here. Open up operation 5.
It's saved, by the way. You added your part to the bomb, the material.
Yeah, you got to hit save.
So they don't lose it.
So if you open up operation 5, it'll show you there's your part that you put in.
Yeah, click on the triangle.
Yeah.
Okay. You see it? Yeah. So when someone's kitting, I think that was kitting, right? Yeah, kit wires. They're going to need that material. Okay. What Epicor does is it throws everything on your first operation.
Okay.
If that's how you build it. If that's how you build it.
It's assuming that you want all your materials available.
To start the job. Okay. What worries me a little bit is, what's his name out there that does planning? Abraham. So Abraham will sometimes start cutting, borrowing jobs in the future just to keep his machines busy because maybe he wants him to do that. I get that. What I'm suggesting is the first operation that it have mostly wire. Okay? So anytime you grab a job, you know it's just going to be the wire. And then maybe the second or third or wherever else we decide to put it, that's where your kitting comes in. That's my suggestion because what I'm going to show you next is how does all this material get issued right away. It takes one button, mass issue to manufacturing, and it all goes there. But we can't do that to the ones where he's just going to cut the wire. So we may have to split that up. Does that make sense?
Okay.
That makes sense? So maybe the first operation will have all your wire, and the next one will be kit parts or something.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We can try it, but at least, and then go back. Let's go back to that part that you just put in. How many do you need for this? Put whatever you want. I'm gonna put. I need quantity. I need 2
The
per.
default is 1, but it may not be.
I need 2.
Yeah.
See, and then you can put a scrap rate on it, or not.
I think
I'm not.
Or not.
I'm not. So then hit save.
If you don't hit save and you close the window, there's no message that says you want to save it.
Yes. Yes, there is. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this part. Okay, so anytime if there's anything here that I don't want to, that I want to delete, I can highlight it, hit delete. Delete this record? Yes. So it deleted that one that I had highlighted. I'm going to add it again. Right click, add material. And mine was called RSR-Rudy's. How you spell it? There. Then I'm going to hit tab. And then I'm going to do what you said, Alan. I'm going to get out of it. Didn't you say get out of it, or what did you say?
Well, I mean, change the window or get out of it.
I'm just going to X out here. It does warn you. It does warn you. Okay? So make sure you save it. That's a good question. I'm glad. Guys are,
Well, yeah, it was a good question, and 90% of the time, it will say save changes. The second, I don't even, you guys probably won't send it across, but there are a couple of programs you use right now where you don't say, it just automatically
Yeah.
saves. So if you hit save again, it doesn't matter.
it freaks
There was
out.
an inconsistent design on Evercore's part, but
Okay.
most of the time, yes, it'll do that.
Okay, all this that I did though, how much does this cost? Where do I see that at? Let's go to actions. Go to revision. View cost.
So this will be handy in quotes, because remember, everything you're seeing right now, next week we're gonna do a cross-functional workshop, quotes and sales order. You're gonna see the same stuff.
Okay.
Who
So
else- sorry, just one quick.
Mhm.
So you two do quotes, who else would be in that?
Jose Luis,
Carlos
Bob,
Hold on,
Gabriela, but they don't, they have.
What about,
laptop.
Alan.
what about
Jose
Eduardo
Luis, who
and
else?
Edson,
Guillermo?
no, Jose Luis, Bob,
Gabriela,
Oh, Gabrielle.
Gabriela no tiene laptop, ¿verdad?
no, Nick Hope tampoco.
Job,
J.O.B., that's his name.
Job, J-O-B. That's a cool name.
Have we met?
It's from the Bible.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but I don't remember, where was
What's my
he
name?
during the quote discovery?
He doesn't have a laptop, so he hasn't built it.
Okay, so Alan, Edson, Jose Luis, Gabrielle, and Joe.
Gabriela.
Gabriela.
And Joe. Okay, but Gabriella and Joe do not have laptops.
Well, we can do it.
They'll
We can
use,
do it.
they'll use ours.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Or we could, I might have an extra one at home or two we could use. Okay. These three numbers right here, here's your material, here's your labor, and here's your burden. You add those three together and that's the cost of this item. Okay? Hit close. Once you do this, actions, revision, approve and check in. And say okay. Did everybody get this, Linda?
Yeah.
Say okay.
Check incomplete.
Say okay. Let's get rid of this engineering window. Now you should be back in front of part. See your little yin-yang up here that says refresh? Hit refresh.
Okay.
And now you'll see that it is approved. Put your icon.
You approved it in the engineering workbench.
Yeah.
So by hitting refresh, it updated.
So now Eduardo's going to be able to sell this right now. It's available to sell.
So I believe the approval will be by Carlos, right? Not for us.
Well,
That's, it goes to here.
yeah.
I got a whole thing I'm gonna, we need to review that.
So I'm curious, because I want you to just reflect now on what Rudy just took you through. He took you into part entry. You created a purchase part. Then he created a top assembly manufactured part. Then you jumped out to the engineering workbench and you built a method. You copied a part similar, right? Grabbed its mom, you changed the materials, and you approved it and checked it in, and you did all of that originally driving out of part entry. You weren't jumping around with 27 programs and, you know, how does this feel compared to visibility and what, in order to do that?
So far.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's open. I mean, I've never done it myself in visibility, but I watched, because you're always going up here and changing a number, and you got to know all the numbers off the top of your head. And so that's why we always say right click is your friend. Action drop out. That's a big friend too. So,
Okay, so
sorry.
one thing to do real quick, while you're in part display and you're on the revision tab, is everybody where I'm at? Right click on that 10.2 revision, right click, open with method tracker. Almost everywhere in Epicor that you see revision, you can go to method tracker. And all method tracker does is it tells you, what do I need to build it? Now everybody go to actions, view cost. Same as we did a minute ago in engineering workbench. You get the same thing.
Well, can I just ask you a question here? Because, and we added a material.
Yes.
So theoretically, this cost should be slightly higher
Than the RR one that I originally did. Okay, now I want you to do one other thing, see if this works for you. Mike's going to hate me for this, but see this arrow right here? Right click. This, are you in Method Tracker?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me start over. Actions, view cost,
Okay.
and you should get a grid.
Yeah.
Mike told you anytime there's a grid, right here, I'm going to right click, copy to Excel. See if that works for you.
So I don't get heartburn over people copying
Did it work?
one version of the truth to Excel,
You can do it.
but it's when you want to.
You can't?
It's when you want to. Well, maybe, yeah, right. Excel may not. It'll go there. If I went down here and opened up Excel, it would be there.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, I just wanted you to see that. What I'll send you, homework for Monday, okay? Create another revision for that same part you just did. And I'll check it all. I mean, you have what's today, Thursday, Friday?
Add an operation.
Saturday. Yeah, maybe add an operation, add something to it, take something away from it. So what are you going to do? So here's your instructions for what are you going to do. You're going to bring up your part, your finished goods part, which is on the second page. It'll be your initials - Jerry. Okay? And then you're going to say File, New Part Revision. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then you're going to say, you're going to name it, whatever, hot potato, whatever you want to name it. Give it a description. And then you're going to say actions, revision, checkout revision. Okay? You're going to pick hot potato. Okay? And then you're going to put in, I was number 2. I'm recording this, by the way. I'm going to send you a copy of this so you'll be all lost, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Okay? And once you do that, notice I have 2 revisions now. One's approved, one's not. One has material and operations, one has nothing. So now I click on the new one I did and I go actions, revision, engineering workbench. Okay? And inside of engineering workbench, I don't have nothing. So what do? Revision, get details. And what do you think it's going to bring me? It's going to bring me the same part number, and it's going to say, well, let's start with 10.2 revision. I'll start with that. Or I can pick another part, but I'm going to pick this revision. You know why? Because it has material and operations the same. I'm just going to make changes to it. And guess what? Within a few seconds, I'm there. And now I can go in, change quantities. I can add an operation, click on operation. Okay. Notice this error because I hadn't hit save or update. Remember that. Anytime it gives you an error like that, you have to hit update. Save, update, your friends. So I can click on operations and say add operation and then add whatever I want to add. Cable prep, and say I can do 200 operations per hour. Save. Whatever changes you made, actions, revision, approve and check in. I mean, you can go view costs and all that stuff like we did, but I'm just showing you the basics to what you need to do for your part, and I'll check them. I'll check them next Tuesday. And if you have any problems, call me before then.
Okay.
And now it says check-in complete. I'm going to X out of engineering workbench. Now, if I hit refresh, it's going to approve this hot one. But I also, as a best practice, want to unapprove the other one. so that when Eduardo or Guillermo create a sales order, it doesn't use it.
Yeah, actually, the PO of the customers have to have the revision, so.
Right. Okay, good, good. That'll even help more. Let me ask you this, well, on a blanket order, can you have different orders with the same PO for different customers?
No,
No, they have to be,
not yet, no, but maybe in the future.
okay, good. I know that's a Guillermo question, but I like to ask, because you set up your customers that way. Like if you say, if the customer is only going to be able to buy the hot one, then his PO number has to be different from the other PO numbers that could be the same part, but it has to be a different PO number. Okay? So you guys think you could practice that for next time?
Yeah.
What's your initials, Aaron? AK? ¿Eres Rodríguez? Romero. I thought you were good people.
So just a quick question. When we did the discovery for sales orders with Guillermo, but we also had Eduardo and a friend. Yeah. Those three.
Yeah.
Yeah, Abraham has to be included in that.
And what's he?
Abraham,
He's production planner.
Abraham.
Production planner.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want him. I'm thinking next week we're going to start cross-functional workshops, and the first one's going to be quote the sales order.
Well, you know what? We didn't have enough time with
He would do
him.
sales orders production. He would be the second. Excuse me, second.
He didn't have enough time to train at
Oh,
all.
I'll invite him.
All right, one more thing real quick. I created another revision called Never. Never ever do what I'm going to do. But Carlos wanted me to show you this. I'm going to show you. Okay? Actions, revision, engineering workbench. There we go. Okay, actions, revision, get details. Here's the new one. Yeah,
Which one did you pick?
get from import. Okay, and here's a file. Yeah, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you because Carlos wanted me to show you. But I'll show you. If you go to your desktop to that folder that I gave you, there is one called BOM. Okay. Open. Okay. And just like that, it'll bring in all your material. I cannot import operation routings. I can't do routings, but I can do a BOM. If you look at this, it shows you all. There's all your material again, and that took what? 1 minute.
Well, great.
But I'll show you. You can do it that way. But if you look at each one, everyone's going to have a one. So I don't know how many are needed. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to go through and tell it, okay, I need, well, no, yeah, it does do that. 2 of these, 3 of these, and all this. But they're not attached to an operation.
Okay.
What operation are you going to use? So now I got to go add operations manual.
Right.
So Carlos asked me, can it be done? Yes. Here's the bad part.
Okay.
This is the awful part. I'm going to do this right now. Anytime you get confused in Engineering Workbench, go to revision, and at the very bottom it'll say clear all. And it'll ask you, and you'll say, yeah, clear them all. If I go to actions, revision, get details, get from import, you go back to that folder I told you about, and do the never do this one.
But he's saying never do this one.
This will screw you up. Mehdi will kill you, and then he'll fire you. Okay? Guess what? It brought in all the parts, just like it was supposed to. But guess what? This last part, what the F, it doesn't exist in the system.
We don't have it in the system.
We don't have it in the system. So as soon as you try to hit save, it's not going to save. It's going to screw it up. It's a part on the fly, what they call a POF. And remember that you too, because you're going to do quoting. In quote, I can put anything. I could put Superfly part,
I'm
whatever.
so glad you brought this up. We'll have to pound on that one next week.
Just remember that. yes, you can put it in there if it's a part that you haven't bought yet. You don't even know where in the hell they sell it. Yeah, it needs to be on the BOM. Yeah, it probably costs $0.25 each.
Right.
But when it comes time to create a real order, when you create an order from a quote, you're going to have to put that part in first.
Yeah, you're gonna have to create a purchase.
Yeah, you have to create a purchase part.
Yeah, I'm so.
But how we are going to know, you know?
I'll show you. I'll show you.
Right?
Well, this will show you. On a quote, it won't. On a quote, I can put spinach. The part's called spinach.
It's gonna accept it.
It'll accept it.
Okay, so let me give you a quick scenario. Why? Okay, so let's say it's wire, not this, right? EasyGo or somebody calls up and says, we want you to build a brand new part for us, but we only want you to build one sample, and we're not sure if we're going to buy it or not yet. Well, I don't want to create all the, and every single purchase part is new. Well, I don't want to have, I'm not going to create all these new purchase parts and all this blah, 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 right? So theoretically, you can build a top assembly part on the fly in quote management. It's not your part master. All the materials are part on the fly. They're not in the part master. You can approve the quote, sales order, but you can do this whole thing, create the job for one unit and ship the sample. Nothing's in here.
Okay.
Parts on the fly.
Yeah.
Okay, you with me? The scenario is we want you to build one thing. We'll pay you $2,000, right, for your trouble. Because this is common in other industries, right? It's not
I'm
common
gonna
here.
build them right now.
Right. So anyways,
Real
this
quick.
whole part of the fly concept means that the part is not in the part master. I can do a quote, sales order line, job, build it, and ship it. Nothing's down here.
Yeah.
Well, that's the risk you run when you start importing is if the part numbers don't match up with what's in the part master, it's still going to take it. So let me just ask you a follow-up question though, okay? Because I need to understand, we need to understand this. If it's a brand new quote from whoever, it could be Midwest, Oshkosh, or EasyGo, or Yamaha, and there's 50 materials on it, right? The customer is giving Austin that list of 50 materials, right? Chances are you're going to have most of them already on file, but not all of them. Am I right?
Right.
So that's why you wouldn't do the import. Just do it in the engineering workbench. And if you find that a material doesn't exist, then you just create it. Am I right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've worked with the one cable assembly.
Not their software. I haven't worked with the software.
Okay, well, I was
Intuit is called. Yeah.
So
Intuit.
I created the bill of material and then one purchase part didn't exist, it will tell you. And
Yeah.
I will just create it and put it and come back.
Yeah.
And
You do
that's
the
what
same?
you guys-
No, here it's a little
It
different.
doesn't exist, and here's how. All parts on the fly, they don't have any description.
Yeah.
Right? So the description cell will be empty, and you're supposed to punch in.
What it does with
It's not
Epicor,
required.
and I'll show you this next time we get together, is we'll create a quote and have a couple of bullshit parts in it. And then when you create an order, your purchasing department, they don't know what the hell this is. So it'll pop up and it'll look when it comes time for them to create that part, which is really your guys' job. It'll go grab the description from quote that you put in, bullshit part, blah, blah, blah. It'll go grab that and put it in there. But it's not in there already until you tell it, I'm creating a new part. But it will grab the description. You'll still have to put a group like you did and a class. But that's your job because I guess you guys are the only ones that create parts, right? You got to know how to do that.
I almost wish that in company config, so there's this massive table called company config configuration. So, I mean, I almost wish there was a switch in company config that would turn it off.
Yeah.
Right? But it does not exist. So you have to be aware of that capability. And the dead giveaway is you can punch in a part number, but there'll be no description. So I'll give you an example. Axel's going to buy new notebooks for 2 new employees, right? He could go into Epicor and create a PO, right? Dell model, blah, 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 right? 2. Part doesn't exist in part master, it's part on fly. But he has to specify a part group, product group, and part class so that we capture the costs, the correct general ledger, right? That's a common example of where parts on the fly get used for MRO and indirect stuff by purchasing. But you guys, can you think of any situation where either
Well, just a sample.
They wouldn't use it. Well, my example is simple.
Yeah.
But even that was kind of.
But you don't even need yeah.
I can think of no situation where they would use even the.
Well, what we do in the live sites, if they want a sample, they create a job. They don't create a sales order or nothing. They have a customer they'll put in. You can just go in and create a job for a part on the fly, a fake part, and just build it right there. And then, because you have to have a reason to build a job. It either has to be for an order, for stock, or for other. And so we created a part called sample in inventory. So you create this sample part for Oshkosh, and you just build it right there. And if they like it, one piece, you don't have to sell it. You just ship it to them.
Because remember that chart, you got the moms and those 3 modules, quotes, jobs, but you can also build one from scratch in all 3 of those.
Yeah.
And you don't have to copy from the repository. You can build one from scratch in all 3 of those.